welcome back everybody for episode 11 of our playthrough of Rime of the Frost Maiden. I'm Samson Paul, joined by the rest of the party. I hope everyone had a very safe and nice Christmas, a nice little break with New Year's around the corner. How's everybody doing?
Doing good.
Yeah, doing very good. Glad to be back.
Yeah. Clara and Nick had to miss the week before last, and they're back here tonight. We'll get going here shortly. I don't think we came to a consensus, but we're not going to have the January 1 session, right? Too many people are going to be unavailable, it sounds like.
Yeah, sounds like.
So we'll pick up then next Wednesday as well, just back to the regular schedule, and deal with that then. Maybe some new characters on the horizon. Who knows? Time will tell. But anyways, I guess I need to go ahead and get a recap in of last week. I'd say it's about that time. I think, yeah. So I'm going to hand it over to someone else to give the recap this week.
Oh, well, thank you, Samson Paul. Well, I'm very happy to do this for you. So, we go back into last week with my master plan. I had successfully infiltrated the town of East Haven and deeply enrooted into their government. And I had my sinister sail staying low until the time was right, and we figured out that they had something of importance. We got the cauldron that creates food out of water. And that instigated my master plan to take place. Taking in this very nice information that James M.F. Quincy had given me, we decided to take it upon ourselves to find a buyer, and find a buyer we did. So, with that being said, James Quincy gave me a heads up, and that heads up was very much necessary. There's an X factor in this plan. I couldn't account for this group of adventurers that were in town that could surely muddy us up, so I took it upon myself to try to confuse them and distract them while the caper was in place. And it worked beautifully. They were running all around town. They didn't know what the hell was going on, thanks to me. But by the end of the day, we managed to get our axe beaks and haul that cauldron out of town, and we're on our way to Targos, smooth sailing with an extra individual that we did not plan on, but them's the ropes sometimes, and we carry on, and we move with it. There's nothing stopping us from making a fortune off of this thing. Samson Paul, you can have it back.
Thanks, Timmy the Tooth. That was a very, very good brief recap from Timmy the Tooth. To elaborate on...
He did it swimmingly.
Swimmingly indeed. To elaborate on what Timmy the Tooth may not have known, Eclipse and... DM inspiration for Timmy the Tooth. Eclipse of the Moon and Lysander took off early in the morning to go treasure hunting for this treasure chest that was alluded to by the witch hag of the previous owner of this cauldron. The party moved about town to try to figure out exactly why they were given these straight up cryptic notes. And by the end of the session, they realized that it had all been a ruse, and there was a ruse within a ruse. And they found that, according to the town speaker, Deneth Whalen, Leoponte had actually been taken prisoner by these bandits and taken with the cauldron and booked it out of town along a sled pulled by axe beaks. To where we pick up, the party is standing outside of Town Hall, trying to disseminate this information and figure out exactly what exactly they need to do next, and where they can group up and meet with the rest of the party before moving forward. So you guys are just minutes past from when the sled had left out of town and made their grand escape. Um, you see the guards are in a fervor trying to track down exactly who did it, why they did it. You see that guards are coming in and out of the town hall to be sure that their leader is safe, and exactly what this means for the town that had this brief moment of hope that it would be much, much easier to be able to feed so many people.
All right, and Eclipse and I are not back yet, correct?
Correct.
Right.
So did we leave off with us just kind of standing around in the middle of town?
Yeah, that's pretty much what I've described here.
Which means Billy and I are there right now.
Yes. It is Carcass, Andy, Vega, and Zezix.
Then Andy's going to turn to Zezix and say, what exactly happened?
Well, I was just over in the square helping out with the soup, and I went inside to go get some more, and then out of nowhere, these guys just came crashing out, and they said that they were going to take the cauldron. So I got out of there and I escaped, but they had the town speaker just tied up. I didn't know what else to do, so I tried to go find Carcass, and then on my way to go find Carcass, the Aponte, he said that he'd help, and I don't know where he is.
Okay, did you recognize the people that said they were going to take the cauldron?
Well, there was this guy. I met him in the line. He had kind of a lisp. He was it Timmy? I think it was.
Yeah, I had the pleasure of meeting him earlier when I was investigating that note that turned out to be a goose chase.
Oh yeah?
Timmy the Tooth.
Did he seem off, or?
He seemed the nefarious type.
Okay, so Leon Ponte was going to help, and he is now missing. And this Timmy person is also missing with the cauldron.
Well, according to the town speaker, Timmy and his friends took Leo Ponte with them. So, as of right now, he's a prisoner of sorts. So we should probably try and figure out where the fuck they went with him in the cauldron.
Right. What direction did they go? She's going to look around and see if anyone nearby might know.
So I believe you would see tracks, pretty fresh tracks, heading westward out of town.
There. She'll point.
Well, I guess we better go that way. Do we need to find the rest of our party before we go?
Yeah, we should have everyone.
Okay, and where would you guys like to go?
They left us a note at the tavern, right? I'm trying to remember what it said.
They said they would be back about midday, and it's just a little bit past midday at this point.
Well, then in that case, we should head back to the inn and try and meet him there.
Sounds good to me. Let's go.
So, doesn't take much time for you guys to head from the town hall to the inn, and Inside, you see Eclipse and Lysander standing in the room. Now, let's go ahead and resolve what Lysander and Eclipse had done. So if you guys would please give me an investigation check. Both of you.
I got an 11.
Okay.
And I got a 12.
All right. Go ahead and each of you roll a D100.
$48.
All right.
She rolled a 100 and a 3.
So sorry.
Is that a 103 or is it just a flat 3?
That's a flat 3, a zero, double 0 and a 3.
Yeah, correct.
Yep, that is a 3.
Damn.
So, Lysander, you were able to recover from the bottom of the lake a potion that looks a little different. It's the same color as you would find a healing potion, but the difference between this one is that the liquid inside actually condenses down into the size of like maybe a glass bead that kind of rolls around in there, and intermittently it expands back to its full voluminous to fill out the rest of the bottle. That's all you can make of that from what you found. And Eclipse, you found 50 pieces of gold in value of like shiny lake pearls and other sort of like rare commodities that you would find in the bottom of the lake that would be that Lysander had pulled up as trade value that you could probably scavenge out of. About 50 gold's worth of those items.
It's a big lake. I couldn't cover it all in a day.
Right.
Maybe better luck next time.
Woo.
There'll be a next time.
Yes, indeed. So, the party finds Lysander and Eclipse waiting inside of the inn, and you guys see the rest of the party coming in to seemingly meet up with you. Obviously, one person short.
I turn around to greet everyone. Hey, where's Leoponte?
Yeah, about that. We kind of need to go so we can find out.
Find out what?
Let's walk and talk. And I'll try and get them to stand up as I continue the conversation. So we can head back to Town Hall to start following the tracks.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
You guys rise up out of your chairs and you make your way out of the inn, back outside.
So,
how was your guys' day? What happened?
well, there was a heist. Somebody stole the cauldron, and it appears that they also kidnapped Leoponte and took him with them. So we need to find out where they went. And the only lead we have to go on is the tracks leaving the town hall that we are on our way to right now. They left on a sled pulled by buckbeaks.
I do need to say something. Timmy tried to make a deal with me, and he said that to find him in Targos. So I don't know if that's where he's heading, or if that was just a cover.
Targos, huh?
Is Targos in the direction that the tracks lead?
Yeah, basically East Haven is the furthest east town, so west would be in that direction.
Well, it's worth a shot.
Yeah. I think our best bet, like you said, is to follow those tracks that he was taken captive on.
Yeah, I say we follow the tracks for as long as we can, and then
Yeah.
if and when we lose the trail, if we're still headed in the direction of Targos, then that's our best bet.
Okay. Zizix, what kind of deal was Timmy trying to make with you?
I mean, he was trying to get me to just kind of look the other way.
What exactly did he say to you?
I mean, player to player, I don't know. I can't remember exactly what he said.
To summarize, I believe the conversation went like for you to look the other way, and he would give you payment, and you inquired onto where he would go to receive payment, and he was kind of hesitant to give out specific information, but he was able to be intimidated to telling you that if you weren't able to receive payment, if we agreed to this deal, you would find him in Targos. I distinctly remember him rolling a natural 1 against your intimidation.
Oh yeah, that's right. Because Zizix is so intimidating.
Small hands.
Hey, man, yeah, he's waist high, man. It's a pretty vulnerable spot for regular sized boat.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's continue to town hall, see if we can follow these tracks. Carcass, do you know anything that happened? Were you there?
No, I was not there. I was waiting here for pointing.
Okay. Well, we'll see if we can find him, okay?
Yes, we must find him.
Good man. Let's move.
All right. And did you say you were going to town hall to figure out more information, or were you just going to get on the trail and start following it out of town?
That's where the trail started, correct?
Yes.
Then yeah, let's go there.
Okay. So, you guys make it back to the town hall, and you follow the tracks that are quite fresh at this point, busting their way west down the main street of town and out towards the east way, at which point, with the inclement weather, the heavy snow that has been ongoing for the past few days, I'm going to need someone to make a survival check for tracking. Who would like to make that roll?
I can.
All right.
That's a 16 total.
16. Yeah, you see that the trail leads westward down the main road, the road that leads through to Bryn Shander and also forks or has a cross section in the middle that, taking a right, goes north to Caradinaval and south to Goodmead. So you continue on that trail, heading west. It's going to be a 4-hour journey to make it to Bryn Shander. So after the 2-hour mark, you see that the tracks maintain on the road quite distinctly. The amount of power that was and the weight of the cauldron that was on that load has really dug in some deep trenches that haven't been filled in yet. But after a couple hours on the road, it starts to get shallower and shallower and shallower. You notice there are a few people that are trying to brave the storm, and they come, walking by intermittently. You probably see 2 or 3 every hour, something like that. Would you guys like to do anything with the people that are passing by?
I would ask if they've seen a sled being pulled by axe beaks with a large cauldron in tow.
So the first set of travelers that you come across is a man and a woman that are very closely bundled up, and they say, "Oh yeah, they came busting through not too long ago. I nearly ran us over."
Do you know which way they went?
Well, they hadn't hit the fork in the road yet, but they were staying on the road.
Okay, thank you.
And they go on their way, and you guys continue down the road. I would like another survival check at this point.
That's an 8.
Definitely harder to notice the tracks at this point as they kind of get overlapped with wildlife tracks that maybe kind of have been trudging through the deep snow. It's kind of hard to exactly see where, but with what the information that you guys had gathered from those passerbys is that they continued down this road until the fork. I'm assuming you guys want to stay the course at this point?
Yeah, we're at the fork. Does it say which direction goes to where?
Yeah, there's a signpost that indicates which direction is where.
Can I actually try looking for tracks as well?
Yeah, you guys could either roll individually or with advantage.
I guess since she already rolled, I'll go ahead and just roll my own.
Okay.
$23.
Yeah, you are able to pick out the tracks in this well-traveled road, and see that when you guys reach the crossroad area, that they continued west.
It looks like
All right, it looks like they're still heading west, so
Let's keep going.
let's keep going.
West it is.
Okay. And at this point in the day, the sun is starting to set. You've only been traveling for about 2.5 hours at this point. So nighttime is falling on you. But you see in the distance that there is a large town of Bryn Shander, just maybe about a mile out or so at this point. Give me one last survival check for this leg of the journey.
That would be a 16 from me.
Mine's an 18.
Nice.
18. Okay. So you're able to see that there's a set of tracks that have pulled left and went off the road about the point that you guys are at, a mile away from town, and continues through the wilderness. You also stumble across a hunk of meat that has been dropped onto the ground where this trail breaks from the main road.
I would like to run over and eat it.
Okay. You do just that. The taste is very familiar. It seems like that you've had this same type of meat hunk before.
know about you guys, but that seems like a breadcrumb left by Leoponte.
Yep, I would say so.
I
Looks
agree.
like we're going this way.
It was a hunk of meat. It was not bread.
Yeah, it's a figure of speech, but that's okay.
All right. So you're choosing to bypass Bryn Shander and continue on the trail, what seemingly goes outside of its jurisdiction, essentially.
Yeah, I suppose so.
Okay. So, at this point, I will need another survival check.
$22.
22.
23.
Very nice. So because the powder on outside of the trail is so high, it creates a much more visible and easier trail for you guys to track. That you're doing so just very well. So you start to veer off course off the road and into the wilderness, as you see that this set of tracks completely bypass Bryn Shander, so you're continuing westward, south and then west. It kind of curves around the walled city of Bryn Shander, traveling just outside, maybe a half mile or so from the city. So at this point, who is leading the party?
I suppose I am.
I'll be up there with her.
Okay. Go ahead and give me perception checks.
That's a 10.
10. All right, Vega.
19.
19. Very good. So you are able to see slight movement in the surrounding area, just in kind of like your spider senses are tingling, and you're also catching a whiff of a familiar scent of some sort of beast or creature that you've encountered in the last week.
Can I pinpoint what kind of beast or creature it is that I'm smelling?
Give me a nature check for that.
Okay. That nature check from the druid would be a 5.
The only thing that you can pick up is that it smells of something that has been decaying for a while. That's the preliminary scent that you're picking up. But yeah, with that roll, I think that's all you can get.
Okay. And you said I was detecting movement and
Yes.
smelling that?
Yes, so you're kind of figuring that there's some sort of carnivore about.
Okay. I will address the party then. Say, hey guys, something's moving around nearby, and I'm catching a whiff of. God, I can't pinpoint it, but it smells familiar, and it smells like decay.
And you think that it's moving?
Yeah. Yeah.
You don't think that it might be another skeletal frost giant, do you?
I mean, it's a possibility, but I can't quite pin it down.
Then we need to proceed with caution.
Yeah, I'd say so.
All right. So I am assuming you guys take a look around when he brings this up to your attention.
Yeah.
All right. Go ahead and make more perception checks from the party.
This is me fighting the urge to quote Hamilton.
13.
8.
Alright, 13, 8. Carcass.
I have a 1.
Zizix,
15.
15. Vega, I'll give you another one.
Oh, sorry, I didn't know I was rolling.
That's alright.
Go to Eclipse and I'll have mine.
Okay, Eclipse.
That's 23.
Very good, very good.
And mine was an 18.
All right. So the only one who can spot this movement clearly is Eclipse, as you catch what catches your eye just off to the south of you is 3 cat-like creatures that are slinking around in the snow, seemingly trying to get into some sort of formation around the party.
Everyone, stay sharp. We're being surrounded.
What do you see?
3 large cat-like things.
And they don't look friendly.
What do your cat eyes see? Alright, well, I say at that we'd probably, at least I would, ready my weapons and prepare myself.
All right. So, what would you guys like to do to prepare for this?
I'm going to keep an eye out in our surroundings, and I would like to ready an arrow into my crossbow.
Okay. Basically holding attacks, is that what I'm getting from everyone?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, pretty much.
So as Eclipse is pointing them out, you see these 3 crag cats ascend from these piles of snow and burrow out and onto the surface, and they start to creep and crawl around you. You see their eyes just flickering so faintly in the darkness, and you hear them start to have a really guttural kind of growl like you would a tiger who's getting ready to strike.
Okay. How far away are they?
They're probably about 35, 40 feet away.
I'm going to move ahead of the party. I'm going to have my crossbow aimed at the ready.
Okay.
I guess at the one in the middle, or whichever one is the closest.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to fire into the snow directly in front of it in an attempt to scare it off.
Okay, go ahead and roll intimidation.
That is a 12.
So you fire off the crossbow bolt in front of it down into the snow, and it pierces through the top layer of this deep snow, and you see the crag cat start to hesitate for a second before advancing further, and then taking longer steps, and they all 3 try to converge on the party. So one of them is going after the smallest member of the party, which is Zizix, and then 2 of them seem to be trying to come towards the front of the party, which was Lysander, and then following him, would be Vega and Andy. So as they approach your threatened range, go ahead and make your opportunity or your held attacks.
I would like to scream frantically and throw my hands in the air.
Okay. Go ahead and give me those results of the attack, and then we'll evaluate what the frantic scream does.
So Zizix, you said one came in to Zizix, right?
Yep.
He's going to cast Firebolt out of his shield with an 18.
That'll hit. Roll damage.
That is 4 fire damage.
Okay, very nice. Andy.
All right, I rolled an 18 as well.
That'll hit.
That's 7 total damage.
Okay, very nice. Vega, what did you have held?
Okay, I guess if it was held, I can't do the second attack. I was starting to roll for it too.
Right.
Okay, sorry. Then I just took a swing with my scimitar and I rolled a 22 to hit.
That hits.
And sorry, let me look at my modifier for the damage.
You're fine.
I rolled max damage, which was 8.
All right, very nice. And then, let's see. Lysander had already unloaded his crossbow. Go ahead and make your intimidation check now that their advance has been met with blows.
Roll again.
Oh no. It doesn't seem to be affecting their demeanor in any way, and at this point, they continue their attack. So everyone roll initiative. Alright. Andy, what'd you get?
20.
Marcus?
I get the 19.
Eclipse?
7.
Zizix?
12.
Lysander?
Nat 20 plus 3.
23. Vega?
11.
Alright. So that's going to be Lysander up first. What would you like to do?
Alright, I'm going to approach the one that is advancing on Zizix.
Uh-huh.
Going to draw my longsword and slash down at it.
Okay. Go ahead and make your attack roll.
That will be an 11.
11 unfortunately will miss. Would you like to do anything else?
Yeah, I'm going to cast Hunter's Mark on that one. That's a
Okay.
bonus action.
Very good. And that will use up all of your actions unless you wanted to move further.
I just want to get between it and Zizix,
Okay.
and that'll be all.
Very good. So That crag cat will move next, and it will try to attack you back, because you're getting between it and its potential food. So it hasn't used its pounce. It's not 20 feet away from the target. It's going to try and claw at you first. That's going to be a 13 to hit.
That will miss.
Okay, very nice. Next up is Andy.
That's a 20 not natural to hit.
That will hit. Roll damage.
That is 8 total damage with the Warhammer.
Okay, very nice. Takes 8. Anything else?
That'll be it for now.
Okay, that brings us to Carcass. You do not have a crag cat in your immediate vicinity. You can go towards Zizix, or you can go towards the one that Andy is attacking, or the one that Vega is next to.
Okay. So, because they are stopping me from getting to Pointy faster, I would like to rage.
Okay.
And then I will attack the one next to Zizix.
Okay, go for it.
And I am going to recklessly attack it.
Alright. Roll your attack.
That is 26 to hit.
That definitely will hit. Go ahead and roll damage.
That is 19 damage.
Ooh. That is a huge chunk of damage as you just land your great axe right in between the ribs of this cat. And you puncture it deep, and it lets out a loud yowl. And takes a step back and reassesses the situation, and it just looks very angry at you.
And I would like to look very angry back at it.
All right. So next up is going to be... That is the one that is being attacked by Andy. And this crag cat will... It's going to try and go in for one of your legs and try to bite you. That is a 23 to hit.
That hits.
Okay, and that is... That's going to be 12 points of piercing damage as it rakes, or it bites into your leg and pulls and pushes and really tries to gnarl and maim your leg, try to hinder your movement.
Does a good job.
Yeah, it did. Oh man. Alright. Next would bring us to Zizix, who has one in between, who has one just past Lysander next to Carcass. So Carcass and Lysander helping come to the aid of Zizix. What would you like to do?
He will attack the same one that he shot at earlier.
Yep, which is the one being attacked by Carcass. Go ahead and roll to attack.
That's a 26.
That definitely will hit. Roll damage.
That's only 3 damage.
3 damage. Okay. So as fast as Carcass swings with the axe and lands his blow, once he pulls it out, you follow it up with the firebolt and incinerate some of the fur that catches on fire, but is quickly put out by the surrounding snow and the existing snow on its fur, and it deals a decent, little chunk of damage. Definitely pestering amount of damage. Is there anything else you would like to do?
He would like to scream at the top of his lungs.
Oh, it's trying to kill me! Kill it! Kill it!
All right. And that will bring us to Vega, who has one directly in front of him.
Oh yeah, I will take a swing at that fucker with my scimitar.
Okay, go ahead and roll to attack. Elephant F-bomb.
Oh yeah, that would be a 19.
That will definitely hit. Roll damage.
That would be 5 damage.
5 damage.
And then I will go ahead and use my dagger for the second attack there.
All right, go for it.
Nat 20.
That's a critical hit. Roll your damage.
Hell yeah. That'd be 6.
6 damage. Very nice.
Yeah, I mean, it was a crit, but it was also a dagger, so...
Right. So you take a swing with your scimitar, and that disorients this crag cat enough to allow you to plunge your dagger deep into the flesh of this cat, just so flushly that you land with the full damage that you are able to put out with such an attack. And this cat does not look good either. So 2 cats are technically in the bleeding status. Anything else? Would you like to move? I think that's the only thing you have left is your move action or a reaction.
I'll move into the come at me stance.
All right, very good. And that brings us to Eclipse of the Moon. So you have your choice of targets: the one attacking Zizix, attacking Andy, or Vega.
I will head over to the one attacking Vega, and I will strike at it with my quarterstaff from the rib area.
Go ahead and roll to attack.
17.
Sorry, one more time. Dogs are going crazy.
17.
17, that hits. All right, roll damage.
That'll be 5 damage.
All right, 5 damage. And which one were you targeting?
Vegas.
Vegas, okay. Very nice. So you're able to, in conjunction with Vega, since you guys are so close in initiative, land your strikes almost in cohesion and do a good deal of damage to this crag cat. Is there anything else you would like to do?
I would like to also do a flurry of blows.
Okay, spend a key point and do 2 unarmed strikes.
Yes. The first one is 10.
That will miss.
And the second one is 18.
That will hit. Roll your unarmed strike damage.
That is 6.
Okay, very good. So in addition to the quarterstaff, you miss on your first unarmed strike, but you're able to follow it up with a back elbow smash right into the back of its head. And it's now very woozy, but is still standing in attack position, ready to strike. And it acts on its turn, and he is... Let's see. He's going to go after Vega, being the biggest target. That's only going to be a 9 to hit.
Yeah, that'll miss.
So Eclipse's back elbow strike is enough to disorientate the Crag Cat enough that it's not able to utilize its claw attack to its effectiveness, and you see it kind of stagger backwards, trying to swing just almost instinctively at this point to defend himself. And that brings us back to the top of the order, which is Lysander. As the one in front of him, with Carcass coming in to assist, the one that was trying to hunt down Zizix.
Yeah, I'm gonna go after that one again with my longsword, the one that I've got the hunter's mark on.
Yep.
That is a 16 to hit.
That will hit. Roll your damage.
Alright. That is 18 slashing.
Okay, go ahead and describe your fatality.
So I step up to square up against this cat, and I just bring it clean down right at the base of its head and just slash right through its neck.
Yeah, and with one fell swoop, you are able to essentially decapitate this Crag Cat. And it was supposed to go next, but will not, as it is dead. Which brings us to...
Alright.
Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, that's all I had. I'm sorry.
Okay, gotcha. And that brings us to Andy.
How many more Crag Cats are up?
2.
2 more? Okay. She's gonna have to just heal herself at this point.
Okay, go ahead and roll your heal.
Hey, on that note, I just noticed a little while ago that my HP is down at the moment, and I don't know if that's because we were in a combat last session and didn't get a rest after, or if I just forgot to put in my long rest.
I don't recall you being in combat.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
So you
I
just
think I
need to
just
update
never
it.
put in the most recent long rest we got.
Yeah.
Okay. I just wanted to check before I did it.
And that's all I can do, is what I can.
Okay. Carcass.
I will run at the one that is over by Andy and recklessly attack it.
Go for it.
That is a natural 20.
Natural 20. All right. Go ahead
Oh,
and
this thing is fucked.
roll damage.
That is 27 points of damage.
27. That is an immaculate amount of damage. And go ahead and describe your fatality.
I would like to run at it very fast and swing at its face, and while I do it, look over at Andy and just kind of smile at her.
Andy will smile back over at him and say, "Thanks, Carcass."
You are welcome, my friend.
So now, the last remaining crag cat, who looks very, very hurt, looks and sees the cries of the other crag cats going down around it, and it looks like it is definitely in survival mode. But right now, it's Zizix's turn.
Zizix, still scared out of his senses because he's just about gotten eaten again. He's gonna shoot off another firebolt at the other one.
Okay, go ahead and roll to attack.
That would be a 10.
10. That will unfortunately miss. Anything else you would like to do?
I will take a kind of a little dive down into the snow and try and hide myself.
Okay. Go ahead and make a stealth check.
With disadvantage because I have heavy armor.
Yes.
That's a 22.
A 22. Very, very nice. That's crazy.
Had a 20, and then I rolled a 19.
Very nice. Alright, and that brings us to next in order would be Vega.
Well, yeah, okay. So just one cat left, yes?
Just one cat.
Alright, I will go at it with my scimitar.
Alright, and it's the one directly in front of you, so go ahead and make your attack.
Perfect. Oh, my die finally betrayed me. That was an 8.
That will miss. Anything else?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and still try for the second attack with the dagger.
Go for it.
That was better. 16.
Yep, that will hit. Roll your damage.
Well, that would be 4.
Okay. So you plunge your dagger back into around the same area that you stabbed the crag cat earlier, and it lets out a very menacing yowl. And describe your fatality.
I guess I will, obviously swing and miss with the scimitar, but then just use the momentum to come back around and plunge the dagger right in, kind of almost the side of its neck.
Mm-hmm.
And then just kind of twist as I pull it out.
Ooh, gruesome.
Oh, yeah.
And that crag cat falls limp. So, you guys find yourselves outside of Bryn Shander by about a mile at this point. The crag cats that had been stalking you, all 3 of them had been dispatched in a fairly quick fashion. What would you guys like to do immediately after the battle?
Yeah, I'm thinking about trying to collect some of the meat, though, because it's something other than fucking knucklehead trout.
Alright,
So
so if you would like to do that, I just had a flying leap attack by a kitten, sorry. If you would like to do that, Go ahead and roll survival for that.
Okay.
Oh, happy kitten. Okay, down with sister.
That's a 12.
So with the dagger that you stabbed this last crag cat with, you find that you can take a little bit of time to carve up the large meaty bits. So you're looking like at the back strap. You could probably get a nice couple of haunches off of the legs. It would probably take you about 30 minutes to do each cat at this point. Or I'm sorry, all the cats would take 30 minutes.
Oh, nice. Cool.
Is that something that you guys want to do?
If no one in the party objects, I'll be doing that. But if they have an objection, then I'll hear it.
Would it be faster if he had assistance?
Yeah, definitely 2 hands or 4 hands are better than 2. You can make a survival check to assist him as well.
Okay. I'll do that because I hate to waste meat that could be used as well.
Sure.
Oh, hell, that is an 8.
So you seem like it would be assisting for sure. You're cutting the time down, but not as much as you had probably intended to cut it down. You probably shave about 5 minutes off of the total.
That'll work.
That's something.
Sure. Though you do feel like that this process could be a lot quicker if you had some sort of cleaver or butcher's knife kind of thing to just really go at it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
All right. So taking that 25 minutes, I'll go ahead and award everyone who is not working on skinning the cats, as it were. There's many ways, so I hear. Everyone else will be taking a short rest. So go ahead and use that. Use your hit dice to recover if necessary. Zizix, I assume you pull yourself up out of the snow.
Yeah, I'll kind of wait until I hear the action kind of die down before picking back up.
Easy enough. Easy enough.
I would like to just try and find where we were headed, and I will just stand and stare at the trail.
Okay, go ahead and that would be a tracking, so survival check from you.
That is a 17.
Okay, very nice. You're able to see where these tracks that you're following continue on, and you stand guard and keep watch in that direction. You don't see any other movement outside of the snow falling all around you. You notice that it's seemingly getting colder as the night continues to encroach. And then you see the lights from the city start to turn on. The torches are lit and starts to illuminate around that surrounding area. I got your hydrate, Clara, just to keep things even.
Hell yeah.
All right. So you have effectively collected about 15 pounds of crag cat haunches.
Nice.
These are quite large creatures, and you can stow them in someone's bag effectively and easily. So once you guys are finished with that, I assume you're heading back onto the trail.
Oh yeah.
All right. So, onward with no regrets. You guys travel for another... Yeah, no regrets. No regrets at all. Let's see. East Haven to... All right. So, you guys have traveled for about 6 hours at this point, and as the light grows very faint, you guys seem to be walking in darkness now, as you guys don't actively have a illumination tool out at this point. Would you guys like to pull out a torch or a lantern, what have you?
Yeah, I've got a torch that we can burn.
All right. So with that, go ahead and give me another survival check to see if you can continue finding this sled trail, as the ongoing snow seems to be slowly burying these tracks.
That is a 13.
13, okay. And I think Andy was rolling as well.
I got a 16.
Okay.
Nice.
So you both are able to see that these tracks are starting to bend back to the north, and as you follow along this trail, as you're pulling away from Bryn Shander, it returns back to the road ahead. So,
You're still there?
yes.
Oh.
I was
I
just
heard-
looking at the map.
Oh, okay.
So the tracks lead back to the main road, and then you find yourselves continuing down, and about 60 feet in front of you, you see another hunk of meat as you start to approach.
Once I see it, I would like to run up to it, pick it up, and just put it in my bag.
Yeah, very easy to do. You're able to spot it and go ahead and retrieve it and store it away. And I believe that is all the survival checks you'll need to make, as the road directly travels into Targos. And you see another walled city, even though these walls are not the same standard as Bryn Shander. These are not 30-foot walls. These are but 15-foot palisades of wooden wall constructed up around this town, and what seems to go over the lake for a bit of distance before turning and creating some sort of like a little harbor kind of area. You reach a fork in the road before you reach the city. The signpost points back in the direction that you went to Bryn Shander. It points to the right and says to Tourmaline, and then it points forward and says Targos. The tracks that you were following, I would like a survival check to see where at this junction that it goes.
I got a 15 on that.
Okay.
I got a 14.
All right. So with your both combined efforts, it's hard to make out the sled tracks at this point, as you've been traveling for about 7.5, 8 hours at least. And you see that there's a lot of traffic, a lot of disturbed snow forward towards Targos. You don't see the same amount of disruption turning to the right to Tourmaline.
Can we make out the Axebeak footprints amongst the other footprints that are in the snow in this trafficked area?
So you haven't been following Axebeak footprints because as the Axebeak pull the sled forward, their footprints effectively get flattened by the sled behind them.
Oh, it's a sled, not like a sleigh with rails?
Right.
Okay.
It's basically a large dog sled.
Gotcha. Okay. Never mind then. Okay, do we see any tracks that are leading towards Targo, since that's the tip that Timmy the Tooth gave Zizix?
Yes, so that's the main trail that you guys have been following. You see a lot more disturbed snow towards Targos rather than turning towards Tourmaline.
If I'm looking, turning towards Tourmaline, do I see any that look like a sled or the sled that we've been following?
No, so what you see with those survival checks going towards Tourmaline look to be very minuscule foot traffic prints. So, footprints, a few snowshoes that have gone through the area, and then a decent buildup of snow as it's continued to snow throughout the day.
Okay, then I'd say Targos is probably still our bet.
Okay. Let's go to Targos.
All right. So continuing on the path towards Targos, you reach the gates of Targos, and outside stand two guards, and they ask, "You brave travel throughout this snowstorm, I see. How can I help you?"
Greetings. We are on the trail of a sled with a few men carrying a cauldron being led by Axebeaks. Have you seen anything of that sort?
Sorry, I'm not at liberty to say. I don't know you.
Why wouldn't you be at liberty to say?
Well,
we have a friend that is in danger that was taken captive. So your cooperation would be much obliged.
well, the obligation is noted. I apologize, as we don't know who you are. I don't think I've seen you before, and quite frankly, you look pretty well armed, and it seems like maybe you could, just be trying to get into the city and maybe cause a little bit of a ruckus. I think that's fair to say, as he looks at Carcass and notes the blood stains that are just dried up on him at this point from the Crag Cat fight, and says, "Did you meet much peril on the road?"
We met danger on the road that met their peril.
I can see that.
Our friend is very important to us, and he is a good friend of my Minotaur friend back here. They're pretty close. So, let me ask you again. And I step up. Have you seen a sled led by Axebeaks with a cauldron and bandits in tow?
and go ahead and roll persuasion.
That is a 13.
He says, well, since your friend is in danger, I can't say that I have. I've only come onto this shift recently, and I haven't seen something like that.
Then a simple no would have sufficed. Who was at your shift beforehand? I've had a very long day, and my patience is short, so please help me out here.
You could probably find Perry at the inn. That's who I tagged out.
What does Perry look like?
And he describes Perry as a long-haired half-elf with probably still in his militia garb and helmet, blonde hair.
Thank you. May we proceed?
Sure, just don't cause any trouble.
Very well. Thank you. I step past him.
And
Go.
they open up the doors and allow you entry into the town. So, as you guys enter the city, see the city is pretty active for this time of night. Lots of people moving goods from one place to another, chopping up firewood, bringing them into their homes. Lots of nighttime activity here. Go ahead and roll investigation to see if you can surmise the quickest way or where the inn is from here.
Go. 13 again.
I got a 10.
Okay. So with that, the 13, you start to naturally walk towards the shoreline, and you follow the main road into town, and you start to hear the sounds of what sounds like people drinking and having a merry old time as cats are fighting on the table and they're riled up. So you follow your ears in that general direction across town by the shoreline to find the Luskin Arms, and I'm quickly remembering that you guys have been here before. So you make your way there, and you see there's a large number of people partaking in drinks tonight. Go ahead and roll perception to see if you can spot the guard.
That would be a 14.
I got a 19.
Okay. So you see a guard with a similar description to what the individual gave you. Let's see. He is sitting at the bar, drinking on some sort of alcoholic beverage, and chatting up a woman at this time.
Chatting with a woman, you said?
Yes. What would you like to do?
How should we approach this gentleman? I'm going to turn to the party.
Well, subtly and politely, so as not to immediately piss him off, since he's obviously engaged in something at the moment. You want me to approach him?
I'm not afraid to approach him, but my appearance in new towns that I haven't been to usually, well, you know.
Right.
But I'll back you up.
I'll start walking up to him, and
Okay.
I'll kind of walk up and like try and time for a slight lull in their conversation, and just say
Go ahead.
"Pardon me, sir. Can we trouble you for a moment of your time?"
And the man kind of looks to you and says, um, sure. What can I help you with? I'm off the clock, but I'm willing to lend an ear.
Right. Well, the man who took over for your shift told us that you might have been the one on guard when what we're looking for may have happened. While you were out on your post, did you happen to see a sled being pulled by axe beaks coming through?
And he raises his eyebrow and responds, and he says, yeah, we were told to be on the lookout for a sled with being pulled by axe beak coming into town with cooking equipment.
Right. Well, our friend is with them, and we would very much like to find him. Could you possibly point us in the direction that they may have gone?
Well, friend, that's unfortunately above my pay grade. You'd probably have to take this up with the town speaker himself.
Can you not just tell us which way they appeared to go?
I was on the outside of the gates. All I did was open the gates for them.
I see. Well, that makes sense. Tell you what, I appreciate that. What is the town speaker's name, and where might we best find him?
You can address him as Speaker Nerith Maxil Denar. So Nerith, Naerth, Maxil Denar, Maxildanarr.
Sorry, could you repeat that one more time?
Which part? Both?
Yes, please.
Okay. Nerth, Naerth. Last name Maxil Denar. Maxil, Maxil. Denar, Danarr.
Thank you, friend. And if you wouldn't mind to give us a description of the town speaker.
Sure. He's let's see. He's got short, slick back hair, and he has chin strap beard. You could probably find him in his room here at the inn, actually, if he's not already asleep.
The town speaker stays at the inn.
And you look around and you see that this inn is very much decorated in the style of Luskan. This seaward kind of pirate town kind of construction on this place. And he says, oh yes, Nerith has a soft spot for Luskan, and well, he tries to bring a little bit of his previous home with him.
Interesting.
Let me ask you, friend. You were told to be on the lookout for this sled. Where did you receive word of that?
I got it from my chain of command, who I assume also got it from the speaker.
Speaker of Targus or
The town speaker.
Okay.
Did you think there was an intercom system?
No, I just didn't know how they were gonna get word out so fast. This is a world full of magic. Who knows?
Yeah, who
Anything can
knows?
happen.
There's talking rocks, after all.
Yeah.
So
Alright,
his
so-
command came from his superior, who gets his orders from the town speaker. And just so you're aware, about 9 hours have passed since the initial uh, caper, I guess, heist, and
Yeah.
word can travel pretty quickly, quicker than on foot. And traveling on foot is much slower compared to traveling on by Axebeak, of course.
Oh yeah, yeah. They got a pretty big head start for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you very much for your help, Perry. May I buy you a drink for your help?
You can buy me two and leave my name out of any investigations that you're doing. I would greatly appreciate that.
I'll give you the money for the second drink, Lysander.
Okay. Very good. So, what's your poison?
He's like, oh, all we have is ale. We haven't had a good shipment of mead in some time.
And as he said that, I'm going to kind of look around to the party with a look like we got to figure that shit out at some point.
All right, then I'll buy him an ale.
All right. So you can go ahead and deduct, see, two of them, so 5 silver apiece. And where would you like to go now?
I would like to regroup with the party and let them know what Perry told us. Said, well, Perry apparently led them into the town, but that was earlier on in the day. It's possible they could be here. It's also possible that they're not, but we'll be on the lookout. We're going to go see if we can find the town speaker, see what he knows.
And I'm going to kind of interject here and say we do need to tread lightly on this, though, because it seems that they were given word to be on the lookout for them arriving, probably by the town speaker, meaning they probably know, well, they're probably bringing this cauldron to this town, so this town wants this cauldron. So they might not want to give us the information on how to get it back, if that makes sense. I don't know if they know it was stolen or not, but they might know and not care because they need the food. So we gotta tread lightly.
Andy, Zizix, what do you think? Eclipse?
I think being careful is a good idea.
Yeah, we don't want to cause too much trouble.
All right.
Well, let's go find this guy.
Okay. And go ahead and roll investigation to try to suss out exactly where you think this town speaker may be.
$14.
Okay. So with that 14, that's enough. You're able to head down the hallway of this inn, this tavern, and you look towards the very end of the hall, the biggest door on this hallway. You see quite clearly has a nameplate on it. So simple enough to find. You see Nerith Maxildanar on this plate next to this large door.
All right. Shall we knock? I'll knock on the door.
All right, and on the door, and you hear, "Who is it?"
Travelers, we seek an audience with the town speaker.
And the townspeaker takes a second to respond, and he says, "Where are you from?"
Does it matter?
Absolutely, it does.
We're a group, and we're from all different places. So we could stand out here and tell you where each of us are from, or if you'd rather, you could come to the door and we could actually introduce ourselves.
And he says, all right, just give me a second. Let me get decent. And it takes about 3 or 4 minutes.
After he says that, I'm going to say, take your time, we'll wait at the bar.
Okay, very good. You guys head back towards the bar, and the bartender looks to you all and says, "Can I get any of you a drink?"
Eclipse will gladly take one.
Yeah, I'll take an ale.
Andy's just gonna go for water.
Okay. So it'll be 5 silver for the drink and 2 copper for the water. And some time passes. About 5 minutes, you all get your drinks served to you directly. And you see Harry, he kind of looks to you, and then his eyes kind of get big, and he turns his head and lays a handful of silver on the counter there, and kind of quickly leaves as you turn around to see what he was reacting to, and it's Speaker Nerith Maxildanar approaching you. And he says, I assume you're the group of travelers who knocked on my door?
Yes, sir.
And what exactly can I help you with?
Well, sir, we are searching for our friend, actually, and he, I believe, has been with a group traveling by sled, pulled by some axe beaks, and we believe that they came into this town. But we would very much like to locate our friend, and we were told you would be the best person to talk to find out where this group may have ended up.
And he takes he postures up a little bit and looks up to you, obviously, because you're much larger than he is, and Carcass as well. And he says, we have many sleds come into town each day. Do you know when they arrived?
Well, let's see. Is there any way I could do the math in my head of how long ago it would have been?
Go ahead and make an intelligence check.
Okay, let me try. $11.
So you would kind of surmise that you would maybe cut the travel time in half on a dog sled. You're not exactly sure how much faster Axebeak would be.
It would have been the shift before the night shift that let him in.
Ah, I see. Do you know what kind of people he was traveling with?
I know there was a man named Timmy the Tooth with them.
They had a large cauldron in tow.
Well,
As Lysander says that, I'm gonna give him a slight look of like, as in like, I'm trying to avoid mentioning the cauldron.
And if you want to try to receive that message through body language, I would have Vega make your persuasion check, and Lysander make an insight check.
Yeah, it's more just to keep you from speaking on the cauldron further, if possible.
I got a 15 on insight.
Alright, and what was your persuasion, Vega?
A fucking 15.
No, that's good. That's good. Basically,
good.
your persuasion set the DC for what Lysander needed to make. So you did a well enough job, kind of accentuating certain body language to convey that notion to Lysander. Do you have anything to add to what you said?
I think us rolling the exact same on this. I think the technical term for that is we're fucking vibing.
Yeah, fair.
Indeed.
Yeah, so basically I'm just trying to convey easy on talking about the cauldron.
All right. Is there anything you wanted to add to what you've just said, Lysander, after picking up on that body language from Vega?
I believe there were 3 men in total.
Okay. He looks at you all and he says, I'm sorry, I don't really keep up to date with the cooking utensils, but I can take a look in the kitchen here if you would like that, to see if a cauldron was delivered here.
The cauldron isn't really of concern to us. It's more the people, because our friend is with them. But I guess if there was a cauldron delivered here, then they might be able to give us a lead.
That's kind of my thinking as well. If the cauldron is here, then someone else around here would have seen the friend that you're looking for.
Can I roll insight on if he's being truthful?
Sure.
To having no knowledge of this?
Yeah, I've got a feeling he's stalling here as well.
Go right ahead, roll your insights.
19.
14 for me.
Both of you get the inkling that he knows a little bit more than what he's letting on.
Yeah, that's what I was afraid of.
Then yeah, let's go to the kitchen. Eclipse, Andy, Zizix, Carcass, would you mind to tag along? I need to speak with Vega real quick.
Sure.
I'll be right.
Sure thing.
Alright, so you guys are going to the kitchen with the speaker, and then Vega and Lysander are hanging back, is that right?
Yes.
Okay. So you 5, including the speaker, head back towards the kitchen, leaving Lysander and Vega at the bar. What would you guys like to talk about in confidence?
I'm wondering if I pull Vega into a quiet corner where nobody else can hear us.
Sure.
Out of earshot. I'm wondering if that might be in his room.
If what might be in his room?
The cauldron.
Well, maybe, but even if it is, that doesn't help us find Leoponte.
No. But there might be other clues in there too.
Maybe. But I'm also wondering if he's If he's lying to us, which I get the feeling he is, then that would probably be because he's worried that we're going to try and take the cauldron back. So we might be able to get him to actually tell us what we want to know if we're able to give him assurances that we don't care about the cauldron and we're just looking for our friend.
I understand what you're saying. I think we might need to come back in here later. Maybe you could turn into a fly and or a spider or something and go check out his room.
Yeah, that's possible. I think that's a good idea for if we can't convince him to tell us.
Okay. Well, let's not keep him waiting too long. Let's get back to the kitchen.
Yep, for sure.
All right.
So that is where we go.
And in the 4 or 5 minutes that conversation might have had fully, the rest of you go with the speaker into the kitchen, and you go back and you see that there's a number of people working on cooking up knucklehead trout in various ways, and speaker goes back and people pop up from what they're doing, and they say, sir, what can we do for you? Do you require more mead delivered to your room? And he says, no, that's fine. I have plenty, thank you. There's been an inquiry on whether or not a new cauldron had come in and been delivered here into the kitchen. Has anything like that come in today? I don't think I've seen it on the ledger as a scheduled delivery. And the main chef back there, he says, no, we're still waiting on our other goods being delivered, but we didn't have anything in for a cauldron, if that's what you're looking for. And the speaker looks back to you all and he says, well, no cauldron here. That's seems like you may need to direct your search elsewhere. Are you sure that they came here?
No.
Oh, sorry. Lysander and Vega are not
sorry.
there yet.
Sorry. Shut up.
So it'd be Zizix, Carcass, Eclipse, and Andy.
Well, this is where Timmy told me to come.
And one of the chefs perk up and say, "Oh, Timmy, yeah, he's usually in here by this time. Guess I haven't seen him today." And the speaker says, "Thank you very much for your time. We'll look elsewhere." And as he starts to turn back and out of the kitchen, Lysander and Vega appear at the doorway, and he says, we just checked with the kitchen here, and no cauldron has come about tonight.
But they do know who Timmy is.
Oh, they do they?
Yeah, and Andy's gonna turn back and glance at the chef and kind of give a nod towards the person that recognized Timmy's name.
Oh, and how do they know Timmy the Tooth?
And the chef kind of gets wide-eyed and say, "Oh, I'm sorry, did you say Timmy the Tooth? I can't say that I know anyone by that name."
Can I roll insight?
Sure.
I'm gonna do the same.
$13.
Yeah, I got like 6 or some shit.
I got 14.
So you all feel like that you caught on to a very abrupt change in demeanor when it comes to Timmy the Tooth.
Okay. What kind of vibe am I getting off the speaker right now while we're like talking to this chef? And he obviously doesn't want this information being shared.
Right. As you glance at him, you see that he's looking back at the chef and his eyes are really big. And his mouth is kind of pursed tightly.
All right.
Go ahead and give me an insight if you want more information than that.
I think I kind of get it. All right, you know what? I'm just going to say, okay, look. You guys are obviously hiding something from us, and I'm sure you have your reasons for that. All we want to do is find our friend. If you could please just help us do that. We don't care about whatever else is going on here. We just want to find our friend.
And the chef starts to open his mouth, and he looks to the speaker, and the speaker says, "Can you describe your friend? Maybe that would help move things along a little quicker."
He has a goofy accent, and he throws a boomerang.
Okay. And he says, "I'm sorry, but I may not be the best person for this. I haven't seen how you describe your friend with the funny accent and a boomerang." And the chef kind of looks to the speaker and says, "Well, there was a guy in here earlier who spoke really fast in a weird accent."
Go on.
Yeah, he and the speaker looks back to the chef and says, "He left some time ago."
Did he mention where he was going?
I did not stay around to really eavesdrop on their conversation. I was just serving food.
What did his accent sound like?
You see, he talks a little bit like this, and he says a lot, and he...
Yeah, that's him.
Yep.
That is our friend, and all we want to do is locate him. Anything that any of you could do to help would be very appreciated.
Well, I suppose you could try checking in with the front desk to see where that man might have went, to see if he took room and board here.
Okay, I guess that's all we can really do then. Thank you.
And as you guys leave the kitchen, the speaker looks to you and says, "Well, good luck in all of your search that you have ahead of you. I hope you find your friend."
Thank you.
Thank you. And we know where to find you if we have more questions. I tip my hat to him.
And he nods slightly and heads back into his room. Where would you guys like to go?
Back to the lobby of the bar, I suppose.
All right. And you meet up with the bartender who's manning the counter. He says, "Can I get y'all another round?"
Actually, right now, I think we could do more for some information. We're looking for a friend who we believe has been through here, and we were wondering if maybe he'd gotten a room or said something about where he was going if he didn't. He talks in a goofy accent, carries a boomerang.
Black hair, goatee.
Yes, I think I remember him. He left some time ago, and it's, he didn't get a room here or anything like that.
Did he give any indication of where he might be going?
He left with a group of individuals that he was with. He left with them.
Did one of them have a bit of a lisp? Talk kind of funny too.
You mean Timmy the Tooth?
Yeah.
You know Timmy. How do you know Timmy?
He comes in here from time to time.
Do you happen to know where we might be able to find him?
Oh, let's see. Timmy. Where does Timmy hang out? Timmy could be at home. I'm not exactly sure where he lives, but he usually shows up here first thing in the morning for breakfast.
Perfect. That is very helpful. Thank you. On that note, I think we would all like rooms.
Okay, very good. Unfortunately, we are full up tonight. It's been a very busy day for whatever reason. So I'm sorry, but you may have to rough it out in the barn.
I'm sure we've slept in worse places.
And he says, well, head back to the gates and hang a right, and you'll find the stable master there, and tell him the Luskin Arms sent you.
All right, we will do that. Thank you.
You're very helpful, friend. I
Yeah,
appreciate you.
absolutely.
I tip my hat to him too. And we'll leave.
All right. You guys head back out into town. Go ahead and give me a perception check.
$21.
Going back outside, you run into, or you not run into, but you spot someone familiar, and you see James M.F. Quincy heading your direction. With his head down, seemingly not seeing you guys yet.
Is there an alley like right by the front door?
Yeah, there is.
Hey, everybody follow me into the alley now. I'm going to say that quietly but loud enough for everyone to hear.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Go.
So you guys retreat into the shadows of the alley, and you hear the footsteps of someone walking towards the inn.
I'm going to turn to Lysander and say, come with me, we're grabbing him and pulling him in here.
Okay.
Okay.
And kind of go out and like make it to where like we're bumping into him and just kind of lock arms with him as we do. And then turn around and walk back into the alley with him.
All right. Very good. So, as the footstep starts to approach, you catch the shadow of James Quincy walking by, and you two burst out of the alleyway and make contact with James Quincy. Go ahead and make a strength check, both of you individually, to see if you can restrain him.
Ooh, that is a 25.
17 for me.
On a strength check?
I know, right?
Yes.
So you get a nat 20 plus 5?
I got +6.
That's a strength saving throw.
Oh, well, it's on my athletics also.
Right, but you're
I got a
proficient.
19. I rolled a 19.
You rolled a 19, then you add your strength check, not your athletics.
Where the hell is my strength?
Should be at the top of the page on D&D Beyond.
Oh, okay, so 23. I'm sorry.
You're good,
I was
you're
looking at
good.
the wrong thing.
Yeah,
14 or 20, 23.
23, which is more than enough. And James says, watch where you're... Hey, let go! And you guys start to pull him back into the alley, and he looks up, he says, it's you. What, how's it going, guys?
Doing great there, buddy. How are you?
I'm doing alright. A simple hello would have sufficed.
Yeah, well, we're kind of sprightly like that.
Yeah, what's going
What's
on?
your business here, friend? Well, we were just wondering what your business was here.
I live here.
Yeah?
Just get into town, did you?
Yeah, I just came back with you guys yesterday from, that cave.
Yeah, I know. You got here pretty quick.
Yeah, fancy that. I left first thing in the morning.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just bet.
Don't say.
Have you seen La Ponte around by any chance?
Timmy the Tooth, perhaps.
Oh,
I know you're
well,
well acquainted.
yeah, I saw Timmy around here earlier, but, no, I haven't seen La Ponte.
Okay. First of all, I want to roll insight on that, but
Sure.
My immediate response will be, well, where'd you see Timmy at, friend?
Well, I saw him this morning before I left town, and we had a little bit of a chat in East Haven, and I made my way here, and that's when I saw him.
Uh-huh. So, since you and Timmy the Tooth seem to be pretty well acquainted, would you happen to know where he lives? We'd like to pay him a visit.
You guys seem really upset about something. Can you tell me what's going on?
We're not upset. We're just trying to find Timmy. We got to talk to him. We're a little aggravated because nobody can seem to point us in the right direction, but...
And it's been a very long day.
Yeah, but seeing as how you two are buddies, I figured you got to know where he lives, right?
Well, actually, we're roommates.
Even better.
Well, then you definitely know where he lives. So if you could just show us, that would be super.
And he's gonna say, "Oh, all right. Yeah, all right. We're gonna go to my house then. Let's go to my house. Yeah."
Wonderful.
And I'm going to stand next to him, and I'm going to put an arm around his shoulder, and I'm going to squeeze lightly but firmly. Lead the way, friend. I'm going to be right beside you the whole way.
And on that note, that's going to be where we're going to take our short break. So, players, you guys have 5-10 minutes to do what you need to do. And I'm going to hang here for a little bit while you guys do that. You guys start walking down this... walking down the street along the shoreline. You pass what looks like a large number of piers and docks. This looks like a very big fishing town that shares the same lake as a number of towns, Bremen being one, Lonelywood, and Tourmaline, obviously. And James, as you guys are walking, he says, Timmy might be he might be asleep by the time we get there. You sure you guys just don't want to talk to him in the morning?
No, I think we'd rather talk to him now.
It's pretty important.
And well, That being said, James says, yeah, okay, I suppose," and he starts walking down the shoreline, and you guys make a left, and you turn towards what looks like is the town hall, and you walk past the town hall, and then he comes to a stop in front of this house, and he says, "All right, well," really loudly he says, "if you guys really want in, I'll let you in, but I gotta tell you, he may not be very happy when he finds out that he has unwanted guests."
Well, he was expecting us, you see, because he has Zizix to meet him here in Targos, so here we are.
Andy's gonna walk around the back of the house.
All right, and you walk around.
Talking real loud.
He is talking real loud. And you walk around to the back of the house and go ahead and roll perception.
That's a 20, not natural.
You're able to see movement inside. You don't see anything trying to come out the window. There's no back door if someone's trying to quickly get out of reach. But you see movement inside. You see lights being turned off, candles being blown out.
She's gonna slowly kind of walk back around and look at the others and say, "Someone inside's blowing out candles real quickly."
Yeah, like I told you, it's bedtime. They're going to sleep.
Yeah, that's great. Could you open the door, please?
And he begins to say, "All right, well, if you really want to come in..."
I'm gonna grab him and say, "Stop stalling and go."
Sandy's
Push
gonna go
him towards
back
the
around
door.
back to make sure no one busts out a window or something.
Okay, so you're staking out back, and you don't see any more movement for the most part. It's very dark inside. And he says, "Okay, well, have it your way." And he opens up the door and he motions for you to go inside, and he says, "Be my guest."
And I'm gonna put my hand around his shoulder again and come in with him. Come along, friend. This is your home after all.
And he's gonna say, "All right, that's fine by me that we're coming in and entering this building that is my home." And you guys walk inside in complete darkness. And he says, "Watch your feet."
I'm gonna light a torch.
All right.
And then start looking for torches and candles and stuff in the house I can light, since somebody blew them all out.
And easily enough, you light a torch and you reveal the inside of this very humble living space. You see what looks like, discarded bottles. It's a very trashy little place. He doesn't keep house very well. You also see a few weapons that are kind of laying about, kind of leaning into the corner of the room next to the bookcase. And you don't see anyone else inside. There's 3 different doors, which you assume are your latrine, your bathrooms, or bedrooms, and all that stuff. And he says, "Well, Timmy's room is right there." And Andy outside, you don't see anything either. There's no movement still back there.
Alright, I'm gonna walk up and knock on the door.
Andy's gonna move around to check the other entrance just to make sure no one's sneaking out behind him.
Okay, very good.
He's just gonna keep walking around the perimeter because she's convinced now they're trying to get away.
Okay. And you open the door, and you see that the room is empty. There's a very, very messy bedroom with a bed that has not been made. The blanket is thrown about, and there's no one inside.
Okay. I will continue to look through the rest of the house, open the other doors, give a light knock on them before I open them.
So you knock on the next door, and you hear a occupied.
Okay, I'll go back to that door.
To the first door to the third door.
No, I mean I'll skip that door for now, the one that someone said occupied, and I'll move back to it
Okay.
once I've investigated the rest.
And as you start to approach the third door, he says, "Hey, that's my room. You don't need to go in there."
Just making sure Timmy's not in there for some reason, you know?
Timmy's not allowed in my room.
Well, he's a rule breaker.
Well, he's a rule breaker, so you never know.
He might be the nosy type.
And I'll be lightly tapping and opening the door as I say that.
And you tap on the door with no response, and you see, as you open this door, another empty room. This one's a lot neater and more cleaned up. And it's not really nice to say, but per se, but it's a decent little bedroom. There's no one inside.
Okay, and are those the only doors? Those three?
Besides the one that's occupied.
Right, and there's no stairs or anything, no other rooms,
Correct.
nothing else? Alright, then I'm going back to that door.
I'm going to make my steps pretty loud to see if there's any hollow floorboards in every room and everywhere that we step.
Okay.
As I walk back to that door, I'm going to lean in towards Lysander and say, it's very possible that Timmy is in one of those rooms and is just invisible. So we might want to keep that in mind.
I'm not in agreement.
And go ahead and roll investigation, Lysander, for doing your sussing out of any hollow boards and all that. That would be an investigation roll.
That's a 5.
Yeah, nothing that you can see is out of place. You're not noticing any super creaky boards or boards that sound like they've lost all backing or loose boards. You're not really finding anything like that.
Are there any rugs on the ground that could be covering trapdoors?
With that investigation roll, there are rugs on the ground, and you kind of kick them to the side, and you don't really see anything in the room that you're in. And then Vega, what were you doing?
I guess I'm going back to that second door.
All right.
I assume the voice that I heard said occupied was noticeably not Timmy the Tooth.
Yes, it was a very deep voice with no lisp.
So who's your friend in the occupied room?
I actually don't know. That didn't sound like anyone that I know.
So you have an intruder in your own home.
I'm sure it's one of Timmy's friends.
Just chilling in your house while Timmy's not here?
That could quite possibly be the case. It's very cold outside, and from what I understand, the inn was pretty packed tonight.
Well, maybe you want to double check as to whether or not that is one of Timmy's friends, yeah?
All right. And he knocks on the door and he says, "Hello, friend. I dare not mean to intrude on your business time, but who are you?" And he says, "My name's Bartholomew." "Oh," and James says, "Oh, that's just Bartholomew, guys."
Do you know a Bartholomew?
"Yeah, I know a Bartholomew. It's this man."
Did you know him before?
Did you know him before this moment?
"Of course I did."
I'm gonna roll insight.
I'm gonna roll insight.
All right.
Sick nasty.
That's a nat 20 plus 5.
Yeah, he's telling the truth.
Alright.
Maybe Bartholomew
maybe
knows where Timmy the Tooth went, yeah?
Sorry, you guys had two mics open, so you're echoing in. What'd you say?
Sorry. I turn to James Quincy and say, well, maybe Bartholomew knows where Timmy the Tooth went, yeah?
I mean, yeah, that's as good a guess as any, I'm sure. That'll work.
Bartholomew, do you know where our friend Timmy the Tooth went?
And you hear a voice from behind the door say, no, I don't know where Timmy the Tooth went."
Can I roll insight?
Sure.
Okay. $13.
It's really hard to say and get a clear read. The man's behind the door and potentially on the pot, so it's really hard to say if he's, hiding something or if he's really, really disturbed about being questioned while taking care of business.
Well, how about you finish up in there and come out and meet us? We're James Quincy's friends here.
I suppose that's all right. And you sit and wait, and some time passes. Some more time passes. Andy, are you still outside?
Yep.
Okay. Go ahead and roll perception.
$16 total.
Okay. So you see one of the windows start to open in not the middle room, but the room furthest from you, down the back side of the house. And you quickly see something flutter out. It's like something had wings and just got sent out.
Can I catch it?
You would have to make quite the dexterity check to get 30 feet down and catch this thing that's flying away.
I have a crossbow.
If you would like to shoot it, you can certainly try that.
You know what? Yeah, she's gonna shoot it.
Okay. Go ahead and roll your attack. At disadvantage, because I don't think you have a light source.
Now it's 2 9s, so it's a 13.
That just misses.
Fuck.
And whatever you're shooting at, your crossbow bolt just sails right over it, and it takes to the sky and becomes veiled in the darkness of night.
Is the window still open?
The window gets pushed closed.
I'm gonna go open the window.
Okay. Go ahead and make a strength check.
That's a 15 total.
A 15. So you're able to get your fingers in behind the window just as it's being shut and start to pry it open, and you notice some force being pressed up against it as you're pushing it back.
In that case, I'm gonna I'm gonna shove a. Let me see what weapons I have on hand. I'll just use one of my crossbow bolts, and I'm gonna jab it through the opening of that window to try and stab whoever the fuck's trying to close it on me.
Okay, go ahead and make an improvised attack at disadvantage.
Dang, if it wasn't disadvantage, it would have been a nat 20.
Oh, no.
But it's a 16.
16 will still hit.
Good.
And you jab your crossbow bolt into that window, breaking some of the pane, the window pane. And you hear, ow! Roll damage.
That's 3 damage.
Yep, and this person becomes visible, and he's holding his chest, and it's none other than Timmy the Tooth.
I'm pushing that window open, and I'm gonna say, "He's in here!"
And on that note, we head back inside. What are the rest of you doing? As you hear from outside Andy saying, "He's in here!"
And running towards her voice.
Yep.
And again, I've got my arm around James Quincy. He's not leaving my side.
Yep, absolutely. And go ahead and let's make sure you have a strength check on that, so if he tries to get out, I know what I'm trying to get out against. Because I'm assuming you're reaffirming your grip at this point.
Yeah. That was an 18.
Very nice, very nice. And you guys bolt into the bedroom, the last bedroom that you had checked. And you see Andy on the outside holding the window open, jabbing in a crossbow bolt. And you see Timmy the Tooth standing in the back of the room. He says, "Oh, guys, hey, I know you. I don't think I met you."
Send a bird out the window.
I did not send a bird out the window.
You definitely did.
I did not. I did no such thing.
Andy's gonna grab him by the scruff of his neck and put him up against the wall.
All right, so
"What did you send?"
you're entering at this point through the window, I assume?
Oh yeah, she's climbing through that window, putting him against the wall, and demanding to know what was in the message.
And he says, "I don't know what you're talking about. I sent no bird."
I believe him.
I want to know what the message was that you sent.
To whom?
I'm going to break your nose if you don't start talking.
Go ahead and roll intimidation.
Natural 19, so that's going to be a 20.
All right. I didn't send. I'm telling you the truth. I did not send a bird. I sent a snake. It's a flying snake. Ooh wee.
That's different. Not a bird. Technically correct. I am correct. Did not lie. I want that to be taken for what it is.
What
That
was the message?
Ah! And he's obviously startled. And he says, "Well, I thought there were some intruders that. Well, James Quincy, he used the code words and the thing that, you know, if he's being forcibly entered into his own home, he's supposed to talk really loudly and stall, and I'm supposed to send for help. So that's what I did.
Where is Leon Ponte?
He's not here.
That isn't what I asked. I asked, where is Leon Ponte?
He is listen, we took him, right? So he was with us, yes, and he managed to convince us to let him go, and it'd be no big deal. And well, we dropped him off in Bryn Shander.
I'm gonna do an insight check.
Okay.
Yeah, same. Same.
It seems like that might be plausible. He sounds like he means what he says.
Where is the cauldron?
That is privileged information.
I'm gonna punch him in the face.
All right, go ahead and roll to attack with advantage.
Okay.
Nice.
Natural 20.
Oh,
Yeah.
Go ahead and roll damage.
Okay. What is that? Unarmed strike, right? Okay.
Yeah.
My sheet just says 3 bludgeoning plus 4. I don't know if that's wrong or what. Usually I'd have to roll a die for damage, right?
It's probably because of the armor you're wearing. Gives a flat bludgeoning
Probably.
damage. So
Yeah, so-
double your dice, which would be the 3, so 10 damage.
So 6, and then 4, so 10. 10 damage.
I want you to add a strength check to that.
Okay. Another natural 20.
They're gonna knock his ass out.
So you wind back, and you look at Timmy the Tooth square in his face, and you punch him right in the mouth, and you hear, "Ah!" And you feel a breaking, a snapping, if you will, as you have shattered his 2 front teeth.
fuck yes.
This is the best day of my whole life. Okay,
And he says, "Oh no, my beautiful teeth! What have you done? Ah!" As he holds them in his hand, and his 2 elongated teeth sit in his palm. He says, "My devilish good looks, they're no longer with me."
if you want me to heal you, then I need you to tell me where the cauldron is.
Can you fix my teeth?
Can I fix the teeth?
Probably not. They are pretty much shattered, and the 2 chips that have remained in his mouth come into like a pointed V, like in the middle, in the center of his teeth. You managed to break them in a downward angle, making like a single fang.
Is it gonna make him whistle now?
If I could replicate that, then yes.
but I don't think I have the capability to do that.
That's adorable.
Go with that attitude, Sam. Give it a try.
Then Andy's gonna say, "I can take your pain away."
Timmy the Fang. Anyway, he says, I can't give you that information.
Andy's gonna ball up her fist again.
And at this point, Lysander, are you on looking at this endeavor of Timmy the Tooth being pummeled up against the wall and holding James Quincy real tight?
Oh yeah, and I'm about to make a move too.
All right.
But I didn't want to steal Miranda's moment because this
Yeah.
is awesome.
Yeah. So we're gonna pause with Miranda. What is your move?
And I'm gonna say I've had enough, and I'm gonna slam James Quincy up against the wall with my right arm braced across his chest. We've had a very long day, trudging through this snowstorm for 9 hours. We've killed 3 crag cats. We've come all this way. I've had it. I pop my sickle. I say, I don't have a nose, but I can smell bullshit, and you reek of it. So it's time to spill the beans before I carve my initials into your balls.
That was oddly specific.
Holding on to that one.
So as you both are divulging that information to your captors at that, or your captees at this point, and Lysander, you're close enough that you hear the door open, and Big Bartholomew comes walking out, and then behind him another individual, and another individual, and another individual, and another individual. A total of 5 people come out of that back room. And they have their crossbows pointed, and they say, you need to let up, put them down, and Bartholomew looks inside. He says, what have you done to Timmy's devilish good looks?
You're gonna be next.
Before anyone else says anything, I'm gonna say, Jesus, were there 5 of you in that bathroom? That must smell awful.
Now, don't kink shame.
And they have their crossbows out, and they say, very funny, but I need you guys to release them now.
Lower your crossbows.
Lower the men.
Sorry, what was that?
Lower the men.
I'm gonna cast command on that man.
On Big Bartholomew?
Yeah, and I'm gonna say, tell your men to stand down.
Is that a saving throw?
It's a wisdom saving throw. DC is 14.
And Big Bartholomew puts his hand up. He says, lower the weapons. Now, I've done my end. You hold up yours.
I'm gonna look at Andy and see if she agrees.
Andy will let up, but not let go.
Then I will do the same.
She will lower her fist.
And I'll retract my sickle back into my arm.
Okay, very cool. And he says, there. Now, like Timmy the Tooth said, Leoponte's not here.
You've stolen something else, and we're here to take it back.
Well, that's
Either
bought
you
and paid
can
for.
Hand it over, or we can take your lives instead.
That's bought and paid for. What do you mean by that?
It's been sold already, and it's not here.
Then where would it be?
It's in with the speaker.
I glance over at
That
Vega.
checks out.
I'm gonna still do an insight on it.
Okay, go ahead and roll inside.
Yeah, good call.
20, not natural.
Yeah, Big Bartholomew is telling the truth.
Then
All right. At that point, Andy will
Sorry,
let
go.
Timmy go.
Oh, thank
I'll
you.
let James Quincy go.
God, thought we were friends. Ah,
Real quick, Timmy. What was your business with Zizix? You asked him to meet you here, and here he is.
well,
So what's up?
I couldn't have you guys getting in the way. So I was trying to just, have him turn a blind eye and show up here, and I would just call it even with the profits that we made off the sale.
Very well. Zizix, how about you collect your pay and we'll go?
And Zizix will hold out his hand and kind of close his fingers a couple of times as a motion as to pay up.
What do you mean? You didn't agree to the deal?
He's here, isn't he?
But
He did what you asked.
did you not get the cauldron?
Do you want the rest of that tooth? Give him his damn money.
And Timmy, the not so toothy, says, "Oh, all right," and he hands over 25 gold.
And
Very good.
Zizix will put that in his bag and extend his hand again and shake his head and say, "That's not everything."
What do you mean that's not everything?
Do I look like a fool to you? I know what that thing's worth.
How much do you think we sold it for?
A whole lot more than 25 gold.
I'm giving you a whole, 10%.
You're telling me you only sold that for 250 gold?
Well, that's my cut.
I'm sorry, what?
It's amazing what someone will let others go hungry for.
That was my cut. Yeah.
Your cut was 250.
Yeah.
Well,
So
I
that's
still believe that I am owed a little bit more than 25 gold.
Big Bartholomew, pay up.
Or I could have Andy, persuade you a little bit more. Maybe Carcass?
And Timmy the Tooth is going to look at Carcass. Go ahead and make an intimidation check. Zizix.
This has got to be Zizix's best stat, right?
100%.
Actually,
What'd you get?
that's a 16.
And he says, "Oh no, I can't use my full teeth." Oh jeez. Big Bartholomew, you pay up. Give him your cut. And Big Bartholomew is gonna look at Timmy and he's gonna say, "I only got 15 gold. I didn't do much. I just lifted the cauldron when it got here. Like, yeah, you pay up." And Big Bartholomew, he grabs his coin purse and hands out 15 gold.
Now, who did you sell this thing to?
like we said, he was the speaker
Of this town?
of this town.
Okay.
All right. I think that our business here is done. Thank you, gentlemen. How about we all head out?
Andy just nods and walks out.
I'm gonna make sure everybody else leaves. I'm gonna bring up the tail end.
Yeah, easy enough.
I am going to stay behind for a few minutes with Timmy. Now I will put my hand on the metal man's shoulder and say, give me a few minutes with him.
And I'll nod, and as I pass Timmy, I'm gonna grab his jaw and look in his mouth and tilt his head around as I'm investigating.
Yeah.
It's an improvement, and then I leave.
And then, as I'm leaving, I'm going to try to kind of stealthily place a rock in his pocket that chirps incessantly like a cricket.
Okay, go ahead and make a sleight of hand check.
That is a 22.
Yeah, you successfully reverse pickpocket a chirping rock.
And by a rock, I mean like a small little pebble, not something that he would instantly kind of feel the weight of. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And that's totally fine. And you guys all exit the room or the dwelling except for Carcass.
I'm going to shut the door behind all of them so that it is just the two of us.
Okay. And you are face to face with Timmy the Tooth, and he says, she broke my teeth, Carcass.
I know, my friend. I'm very sorry for that. Here, I will give you, I can give you this rib bone. Maybe someone can make new teeth for you.
Well, that's very kind of you, Carcass. I'm not gonna be able to get it. I've lost my looks. I do not look very nice anymore.
Oh, you still look very good to me, my friend.
Well, I appreciate that, Carcass. I always liked you.
Yes, I like you too. Just say, is my friend Pointy okay?
Yeah, we gave him his cut, and we dropped him off at Bryn Shander. He didn't want to come back to Targos.
Oh, okay, that is fine. Did he have my money too?
Yeah, we gave him all of it.
Okay. Thank you, Timmy. I appreciate this.
I'm sorry for the deception. He had us drop meat hunks all the way back to Targos.
Yes, I found them. They were delicious.
Oh,
Thank
good,
you.
good. I was worried that you wouldn't find them and they'd just be a waste of meat hunks that I could have given you here.
Oh, no, I like Pointy's meat hunks that he leaves for me. I'm glad he is okay, though. I thought you would take care of him.
We just, be sure that your friends try not to beat up any more of my friends.
Yes, there was a lot of people in the room. Too many for me to try and stop them.
Yeah, well, we had a feeling that, people would try to take our cauldron, and we just wanted to be prepared.
Oh, yes. Where is the cauldron now?
We left it with the town speaker. He's gonna be doing the magic stuff with the woman from the office, the deep agent that we had put in. He's working with her tonight.
Okay. I think my friends are going to try and take the thing back.
Carcass, that's not a good move.
Oh no, I'm not going to do this. We already made a deal.
Because if you try to cross him, he's going to execute you all. The night of sacrifice is just a couple days away, and he has at least 100 guards at the ready at all
no.
times.
Pointy has my money, so I know where I want to go.
Yes, go find Pointy.
Okay, maybe I can get the rest of them to make haste with me.
Yes, you should get them to make haste.
Okay, I like to make haste. Have you made haste?
Very solemnly.
It is very fun. We should make haste together sometime.
Someday we will reunite and make haste together, Carcass. Promise you that.
Okay. I'm sorry they took your money, my friend.
But they took my teeth too. But hopefully these can be repaired.
Well, you take this rib bone from this big giant thing that I found, and maybe you'll get the new teeth.
Maybe. One can hope. But, hold on. Before you leave. Ow! 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 I'm saying this out loud so they think you're hurting me. This is for your benefit.
Oh, okay. I will help. Yes, I hope that causes you a lot of pain. How did I do?
That was very good, Carcass. That was very good. I'll stop you, brute!
Okay, thank you. I will not stop because I don't like you. And I will wink at him when I say this.
And you say, "Oh no!" Ah. And he hits his hand on the side of the wall, and he lays down. And he says, "Go now, Carcass. It's time."
Okay, I will go now. I hope you have a good day.
Goodbye, Carcass. Ow!
Now I will open the door and walk out with a huge smile on my face.
And you guys hear the commotion coming from inside the room, and Carcass emerges out of the dwelling with a huge smile on his face.
Everything go okay?
Oh yes, everything was very good, but I think I need to go find Pointy now.
That is certainly the idea. So, I turn to the rest of the party. What's next?
Well, I guess, do we go try and get this cauldron back before we go find him?
Yes.
Yeah, I think that is what's for the best too.
If we do this, though, we're gonna need to be ready to leave this town quick and not come back.
Yeah, so let me interject a little. Once we get the cauldron, how do you suppose we take it with us?
I think that we should
And
acquire...
when?
Well, I think that we should acquire our own sled with either axe beaks or dogs, and we have somebody driving and taking it back to East Haven to be used for its intended purpose.
The thing is, if we get this cauldron in some fashion, we're probably gonna have pursuance.
looks like. That is granted we don't get caught.
And that is also granted that we don't get killed in the process.
Yes, I do not care about this cauldron. I just want to go get Pointy.
Then let's put it to a vote. Who thinks that we should stay here and formulate a plan to return the cauldron to East Haven? Say aye.
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 Yeah, aye.
Aye. And, I guess that leaves the two of you for Pointy, I suppose. Gesturing to Carcass and Physics.
Yes, and my concern is more of his well-being than getting this cauldron back. I understand the usefulness of the cauldron and how much help it could be for, you know, a town that's just really hurting, but something just feels off about Leoponte not being here.
I agree. It is very odd.
And if Timmy the Tooth was in cahoots with the townspeople, what's to say the rest of the town is not with them? I just don't like the thought of trying to fight our way out of here.
We'll have to be extremely clever now, won't we?
I think it's gonna be more than that.
Well,
I
townspeople.
mean, they're not gonna leave that cauldron unguarded.
No, likely not. And I've got a feeling that I know where it is. And it's probably in the townspeaker's room back at the tavern. Now, he lied to us because he knows about that cauldron. And he told us that he didn't know anything about it, but as the town guard that we spoke with mentioned, he was instructed, actually, to let them in. So, the town speaker may be ousted as being corrupt. He's clearly got that whole tavern under his thumb. The chef, the bartender, and I'm sure that they're tired of living in fear, and we might be able to possibly even stage mutiny, who knows, but...
I don't think we can fight someone if their thumb is that big.
Well, I'm not worried about that. But thank you for the note, Carcass. So, I think that we might need to find our own sled dogs. We locate the cauldron, and then we move forward from there.
Eclipse, are you saying something?
Yeah, it cut out.
Yep.
Sounds like a plan.
All right. So where to?
I think, Vega, we should go to the tavern. You should turn into a mouse or a spider, a fly, something, to go and scout the area, see if you can locate the cauldron, and see where a good exit point is for it.
Oh yeah, send the druid just because he can turn into small animals.
I don't think you're taking full advantage of the abilities you have, my friend.
No, yeah, I'm totally kidding. It's actually pretty great to finally be able to use this shit. So yeah, I'm down.
Good.
All right. So, you guys make your way through town, backtracking towards the tavern. As you guys approach outside, have you decided who's going inside, or if anyone's staying outside, or what the logistics are?
Here's what I think that we should do. So, since we're getting closer, and I'd like to talk to this plan on the way to the tavern.
Okay.
So, the barkeeper said that we could go and talk to the stable workers to see if we can stay in the barn, right?
Yep.
Well, how about while you're scouting that, let's go and see if we can maybe accrue some horses or a wagon or something.
Yeah, that would be great. I would like somebody to be in the inn while I do this, in case whatever small animal I decide to become gets squished or something, and I end up needing help.
I can accompany you.
As long as one person does, I am fine. Actually, as I kind of turn to Andy, it might be better if it's someone who could heal me if I get injured.
Okay. Then you two go in, and we'll go and find the stable. Sound like a plan?
Sounds good to me.
Okay.
Okay.
Good luck.
So, who's going to the stable? I heard that.
Everyone but me and Andy, pretty much.
Okay. So we'll go ahead and start with the tavern, as you guys will approach the tavern before you would the stable. So Vega and Andy make their way into the tavern. Now, are you shape-shifting before you enter, or what's the plan?
Yeah, I'll probably shapeshift before we go in.
Okay.
I'll find an alley, and I'll, I guess I'll just turn into a spider, and kind of ride on, like, the back of Andy's arm or something as she walks in.
Yeah.
Until she finds a good place for me to crawl down and make my way into the room.
All right. Andy, go ahead and roll perception as you enter the tavern.
That's a 14 total?
First thing that jumps to your eyes is that the populace of the patrons here at the bar has changed in demographic quite a bit. You're noticing that there are less civilians here and a lot more guards.
Is there anywhere that stands out, somewhere I might let him down?
So you can either let him down, or he can crawl down the back of your cloak. It's close enough to the ground that he's safe to hop off.
Okay, then I'll just keep slowly moving around, giving him plenty of opportunity to jump off wherever he wants.
And you probably are going to hop off somewhere closer to the hallway, I assume?
Yep.
Alright. So, as you hop off of Andy's cloak, and Andy probably makes her way towards the bar, orders an ale to kind of blend in, I'm assuming?
Yes.
You order an ale and it's served to you quite quickly. We hop to Vega, who, since he's shapeshifted into a spider, and I don't have a spider for him to be on the stream, it's just going to be an elephant in the hallway. You find your way down to the big double doors where the town speaker is staying, and you see that there is a gap small enough that you're able to crawl on through and go inside.
Well, then I shall do so.
Okay. Go ahead and roll perception.
Word. That's a 10.
So, as you enter this room, you are kind of taking in everything. You see the cauldron, first and foremost, in the corner of the room by some of the iron lattice windows.
I'm shocked.
And you see a cage sitting on top of a desk. And you see, in this cage, you see a red and a bright green winged snake, a winged serpent. You see that there is a woman sitting in the chair next to the furnace, and you see the town speaker reaching into one of his drawers for something.
I'll keep watching to see what he's reaching for.
And as you sit and wait, go ahead and give me a stealth check, and your stealth is going to be a +8 because you are tiny.
Nice. That's good, because it wouldn't have been very good as my normal self. 22.
Okay. You sit and you watch as you see the town speaker pull from his desk drawer a live mouse, and he heads over to his cage of winged serpents, and he says to the woman, "This could be a rough night. I've received word that pursuants from East Haven have come to our town to search for the cauldron, and they've already infiltrated our capers, if you will. It's probably not safe for you to stay here tonight." And the woman says, "Well, would you like me to show you how this works?" And he says, "No, the people can wait. We have to make sure that this stays secure, and I will do so with every warm body that I have at my disposal. There's no stopping us from keeping this," as he dangles the mouse outside of the cage and drops it in. The serpents quickly fight each other quickly and snap at each other for rights to this mouse, and he says, "Competition. Competition is what drives ingenuity. Competition is what will have us be better than the rest."
Oh god, he's one of those fucking guys. God damn, you're painting a picture. What does this lady look like?
This lady is the one that when you went into the town hall in East Haven, that was assisting with the maid and stuff like that. So she has long brown hair, hazel eyes, fairly young for the most part, maybe 28, 30.
Right on.
So you recognize her from East Haven.
I gotcha. Okay. Alright, well, man, I sure as shit have all the information I need. I am gonna fuck off real quick and go find Andy.
And you make your way out, and with that same stealth check, you're able to come on down the hallway, and you find Andy at the bar, and you're able to scale back up her cloak.
All right, and I will make sure to crawl somewhere on her where there's actually exposed skin, so she feels me and knows that I'm there, as opposed to just like being on her clothes and her not knowing that I'm back.
Easy enough.
Okay, she'll kind of glance down discreetly and
Spider on your neck.
yeah, she'll finish her drink and slowly walk out. Like nothing's up.
Word.
Alright, and you guys make your way out of the establishment. That brings us to those who are at the stables.
Okay.
You guys make your way to the stable master, and he greets you, and he says, what can I do for you this late at night? It's a very young man, probably looks the age of no more than 18.
Well, good evening, young fellow. We seek shelter for the night. We have traveled long and far over this day, and apparently the tavern is full up for the evening, and they told us that we might be able to take shelter in your barn for the night.
All right. Well, yeah, we have room. I wouldn't suppose that you have materials for making a fire, because you might need it.
We could arrange something, I'm sure.
Very good. Well, here's a few extra stalls here towards the end. It's not great, but it's bedded with hay, so every place you lay is the most comfortable spot we have.
Well, much obliged, friend. Pray tell, if I may ask, first off, are there any horses in the barn, Sam?
There are a few horses here, but they look like they are not riding horses. They seem to be hauling horses, like I guess more like mules, I guess.
Oh, okay. So they're work horses, basically?
Yeah.
Okay. And how many of them are there?
You count 3.
3. Is there any wagons around?
You see a few sleds. You don't see any wagons.
Okay. That answers my question. So, yeah, back to my question to the stable master.
Uh-huh.
Do you know where one could acquire, say, sled dogs if one were to need them?
Oh yes, of course. We lease them here, but we need them returned. We don't actively trade with Boca, so we try to keep a tight supply here. But if you're not skimping on gold, I could try to fix up some axe beak for you.
How much would that run?
If you get them back within a day, 200 gold.
Yeah, that might be a little steep, friend, but I'll think about that. How much would a sled of dogs cost?
Keep them fed. It'd be 75 gold for the day, but that really depends on how much you are hauling and how many you need.
Right.
As he takes a look at Carcass and sees that he's a pretty sizable dude.
Right. Well, you've given me something to consider, friend, and we do have 2 others on the way. But thank you so much for your hospitality.
Yeah, anytime. Just make yourself comfortable.
Will do, friend. Thank you. I tip my hat to him, and we'll wait for Andy and Vega to return.
Okay. And they head in from the tavern and in a short amount of time make their way there.
Alright. So what did did you find?
Sorry, kept pulling up the wrong window. Oh, I found plenty. Okay, so yeah, that snake message that they sent out was definitely to the town speaker. He had a couple of flying snakes in there that he was feeding and talked about receiving word, blah blah blah. Cauldron's definitely in there. So is lady from East Haven that knows how to use it. He knows we're here looking for it. He knows that we found Timmy the Tooth and all of them because they sent him word. He's got the whole town at the ready to defend this cauldron. I don't think there's a realistic way for us to make a move on it now, but I think we can make our way back to East Haven eventually and let them know where it is so they can make a move on it.
The thing is, if we were to take it and bring it back to East Haven, they would know where we brought it. And they would come and there would be violence.
Yeah, and they already know that we're here for it and they're ready and waiting for us, and there's way more of them than there are of us, so I don't see a way for us to pull this off. At least not without extensive injury and possibly death of one or more of us. So
I got a feeling that cauldron isn't going to go far from the tavern, even after tonight. I hear you. This may be a mission for a later date. Perhaps we can come back with more resources.
Yeah.
And a better plan.
And hit them when they're not expecting us.
Exactly.
Right. In the meantime, the stable master was a very kind young man. He's given us some stalls and some hay, and he suggested we gather resources for a fire to keep warm for the night.
We should also keep watch, because if they know we're here, they might attack us.
Agreed. Absolutely. Yeah, with you saying that, Andy, would you guys mind to build a fire? And Andy, will you accompany me and we'll take a walk around the barn and make sure there are no wandering eyes or listening ears afoot?
Sure.
All right.
Thank you.
Pretty short amount of time to get a fire started in a safe place. I will go ahead and give you that, since you are laying on straw, to not incinerate yourselves through the night. And Andy and Lysander, go ahead and give me perceptions as you guys take your stroll around the stables.
I
19.
got a 12.
Yeah, everything looks fairly clear from what you can tell.
Well, we may be in for a quiet night or a long night. Either way, we'll be prepared.
Right. So, believe you guys were talking about taking shifts?
Yeah.
All right. Let's go ahead and first shift, go ahead and roll your perception.
Andy, you want to take first shift with me?
Sure.
And real quick, Sam, are there two entrances to the barn, I'm guessing from the front and the back?
No, there's just one.
I got an 8.
I got another 19.
Okay, very nice. So, Lysander, you hear some footsteps coming your direction as you guys kind of post up over by the entrance. And with your perception, you're able to see 3 torches coming in your direction.
Okay. I am going to ready a crossbow, and I'm going to nudge everyone awake.
Yeah, easy enough.
Take heed. We might have company. I'm gonna go and stand at the entrance of the barn. Andy, you're up there with me, right?
Yes.
I'm gonna keep the crossbow pointed down, but loaded.
And the stable master, he looks to you guys and he says, looks like potential buyers, and he's gonna walk over there and meet up with them. And the 3 torch wielders, they stop to talk with the stable master. You see these silhouettes of men pointing at the barn and talking with the stable master at this point. What would you guys like to do?
How far away are they?
Probably about 40 feet.
So too far for us to hear anything?
Not necessarily. You can make perception checks.
Okay.
Yeah. Eclipse would like to.
Okay. Yeah, everyone's awake. Everyone was alerted awake, so if you'd like to try to eavesdrop, go ahead and make your perceptions.
That's a 16 for me.
And that was a 14 for me.
Andy?
I had an 8.
Anybody else? Alright. So, did I hear a 16?
Yeah, and
Sorry, I'm rolling mine. Sorry, I'm rolling mine now.
Okay, go ahead.
That would be a 22.
22. So, both of you are able to hear this, and you hear one of the torch wielders say, we need to have a talk with the inhabitants of the stable that came in from the inn. If you would please step aside and allow us to interview them. And the stable master nods, and you see him step to the side, and the 3 individuals start making their way towards you. And they see you. And they say, please put your weapons down.
my weapon is down.
And they say, your welcome in this town has been rescinded by order of the House Speaker.
Why would that be?
I do not question authority, and I have been told to deliver this news to you. We are not heartless, so we are not to throw you out in the middle of the night, but come morning, you must leave or face imprisonment.
What did we do wrong?
Like I said, I take my orders from the top, and I follow regulation.
Well, if there's regulation, then there is law and order. So, what crime was committed that we would be imprisoned?
And failure to comply.
Why?
Comply with what?
This order to leave in the morning.
Well, I appreciate the gesture of hospitality, but again, why are we unwelcome?
Well, that is something that the speaker has disseminated on us directly. If I were any better, and the another torch wielder, another guard, steps up and he says, conspiracy to commit a crime of theft.
What evidence do you have of that?
Enough that it is safest in the interest of this town to cast you out.
That's a pretty harsh accusation with little to no evidence that you can provide right now.
Quite frankly, it's not up to me to prove to you what you're being charged of.
If you are charging or threatening imprisonment, I believe it is. You would take orders from a leader that gives you so little info?
We just do our jobs. And if you would like us to go ahead and try to prove it to you, we can do that on your trial date.
I'm gonna step in and say that won't be necessary. We're already planning on leaving in the morning. At this point, it's just a matter of semantics. And you are all in the wrong here, but your town's kind of shit anyway, so don't worry about it. We'll leave.
Thank you. That would be best for all of us.
Feel free to tell your town speaker that he's a chicken shit.
I hope you all sleep well at night, knowing that you've stolen food from hungry families.
But we have provided to many more, I assume. We do what's best for us.
You assume wrong. Go to hell.
Alrighty then.
That's the best way to make a good world, you know? Doing the best for yourself and fuck everybody else. You guys are doing the Lord's work here.
We are working with what Oral has given.
Who's giving who oral?
Oh no.
Zing, zing, zing.
That was a good one.
Thank you.
And all of a sudden, it gets really, really cold. As her name has been mocked, you feel the iciness of the Frost Maiden. The fire that has been constructed has blown out, and a deep, deep chill flows through the stables. And the horse or the mules start to whine. The dogs start to bark. And little straws of hay start to move around as if something's moving through it.
Okay, above the table, just so you don't think this is my character again. That is quite a reaction just because I made a blowjob joke.
And Vega, you're gonna hear a whisper in your ear that says, "Blow on this," and I need a Constitution saving throw.
Oh god, so she can make blowjob jokes, but I can't. I see how it is.
She's not a she's a god. She does what she wants.
She can call the shots.
Yeah, that's fair. That's a 17.
You will take 2 points of cold damage as your ear is feeling like it's so stiff and frozen over, almost like it's frostbite. But because you rolled well on your Constitution, it does not hold.
God damn.
Oral is a vengeful meta dick.
Yeah, I'm starting to gather that.
And then, as quick as it came, the deep freeze leaves the area.
You can leave, gentlemen. Your business here is done.
And they say, we'll be back come morning. And they go ahead and leave.
Well, that may be. I turn back to the rest of the party. Hopefully that is the worst that we encounter tonight. Let us rest. And we'll continue our watch until the next one.
Alright. The rest of your night is going to go just fine, just for the sake of brevity. You guys try to keep warm the best you can. I would like everyone to make a Constitution saving throw with advantage.
I got a 20, not natural.
Okay.
Same, actually.
Nice.
I got a 19.
Very good.
I got a 15.
15. Okay.
12 physics.
I got the 19.
Yeah. Very cold when you wake up, but it doesn't seem like you've taken any exhaustion or had trouble sleeping or anything like that. You guys got by okay. But the sun has risen. A new day has dawned. What would you guys like to do first thing in the morning?
Well, shall we head to Bryn Shander?
Yeah, I suppose. Better than this fucking place.
Yeah. Let's get out of here.
All right. As you guys start to make your way out, you head towards the gates. The gates open for you, and the guards, they make eye contact and they nod. And they seem to have been briefed on who you are. They open the gates, and in through the gates runs a pretty large wolf-sized dog. And it's obviously a domesticated dog. This dog has attached to him a broken leather harness, one that you would see that attaches to a sled of some sort. And it starts barking, and it starts to charge you. And it's charging directly at Zizix.
Oh God!
I'll give you a Dex saving throw.
That's a 5.
This dog pounces on you and is on top of you, and it's quite large, so it's, you know, much larger than you are. And then it starts licking your face and lick, 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 lick. And it gets up and gets up off of you and moves past you and turns around and looks at you and barks. Ruff, ruff.
Are you wanting me to follow?
Ruff! And it starts to turn towards its back, and then it looks back at you and kind of tilts its head to the side.
I think it wants you to follow.
Well, okay. I'll kind of chase after it.
And this dog doesn't go very far. It makes a left at the gates, and it goes up to a house. And this house looks pretty well maintained, and then it starts scratching at the door.
Zizix will knock at the door.
And the door opens, and there's a very good-looking man. He opens the door. He seems to be well kept and well groomed, and keeps himself looking nice and very handsome. He opens the door and he says, "Oh boy, what are you doing here?" And he bends down and he scratches the dog and looks at him and he says, "But why are you here? And who are you?"
Oh, my name is Zizix, owner and entrepreneur of Zizix's Zontical Zone.
And why do you have my dog? Why?
Oh, well, he kind of tackled me and licked my face a lot. And he kind of looked like he wanted me to follow him.
Oh,
And this is what we
just you and your friends come inside quickly.
Andy will go inside.
And we're still in Targos at this point?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna look around before we leave, make sure there are no guards watching us.
Yeah, they don't seem to pay much mind at this point. They saw you were
Okay.
returning a dog, they're not going to intervene.
Well, that's damn decent of them. Cool, yeah, let's go in.
And he says, "I'm sorry to bother you with this, but my dog Boy coming home is a bad sign. If you seem like capable people yourselves, if I could employ you to do something for me."
What did you have in mind?
Well, my dog had went with my husband, Garrett, and he went to Calvin's Cairn to be a guide for a few adventurers that had hired him. And if Boy is here, then Garrett's still out there, and I need someone to be able to try to find him.
Do you know who he was traveling with?
I don't know who he would be traveling with, but the man at Frozen Fire Expeditions, they would be where they would go to load up before their expedition. You might check with him.
Is that a place in town?
No, that's in Cair Koenig. It's near Kelvin's Cairn.
Yeah, I'm familiar with the place. Where specifically would he have gone?
I believe he was on expedition to Kelvin's Cairn, the large mountain that sits just northeast of Cair Koenig.
I see.
You know, how rude of me. I haven't. Give me a second. And he goes and he retrieves a bunch of glasses and starts pouring out warm cider for everyone. And he says, "This seems to be bad if boys come back. I was born here in Ten Towns, but my family's from Neverwinter, and I just feel like it might be a good time to give you a little backstory before I just send you off to find my husband. I was from Neverwinter and moved here with my husband. He was a guide for the outdoors, and he loved to climb mountains. And when he was conscripted just a few days ago by some adventurers by missive, he went to go meet them in Cair Koenig. And I fear that my dog's return is disaster for my dear Garrett."
I'm terribly sorry to hear that.
We've had Boy since he was a puppy, and He would not leave Garrett's side. You seem to be really attached to him.
Well, my morals are a bit conflicted here, if I'm to be honest.
Oh, well, how can I sway you to assist me?
That's a good question, seeing as how we were run out of town this morning.
I see.
Until your dog came bounding through and tackled my friend Zizix here, and we returned him to you.
Well, I'll tell you what, you don't have to return here to help me. I can travel to Bryn Shander and you can meet me there.
I think that sounds fine. I wouldn't mind checking on him. She'll look to everyone else.
I think that we could help. Tell you what, if you are going to Bryn Shander anyway, which just so happens to be where we were headed, could you look for our friend Leoponte de Moy? He's a sharp fellow with black hair, goatee, interesting accent, very charming individual to some.
Okay, I can definitely be on the lookout, but Bryn Shander's a very big town. I can't promise anything, but if I notice him, I'll let you know.
I think we might need to still go find him before we are able to help anyone else.
Let me talk privately with my friends here if you wouldn't mind.
No, not at all. I'll step outside.
Thank you.
And he opens the door and heads out and stands outside with his dog.
How are we feeling about this, friends?
I have no problem with helping those in need, but we have other pressing matters at the moment. Number one being finding Leoponte, if I could speak.
But I don't think he was lying when he said Leofonte was all right, and I do think this man could freeze to death very quickly.
Yeah, time may be running out for him, but Leoponte can handle his own in Bryn Shander, as Timmy the Tooth said, and I know he's not the most trustworthy type, but he did let him go.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you're right. Let's go.
Okay. Let's go find this man.
And assuming you're done with the conversation, you open up the door and man steps back in. Keegan, by the way. He introduced himself as Keegan. He says, well, have you come to a decision on your morals?
I believe we have, and we are gonna help.
Oh, that's a relief. I just worry. I worried that he got caught up in this storm without knowing that it was coming.
Yeah, we've had our fair share of that too. Question, you said his name is Garrett?
Yes, Garrett. Garrett of Elrin.
Garrett of Elrin. Can you describe him for me?
Sure. He's a big burly man, and he has a wild, unkempt beard and brown eyes, long hair. He has a bit of a bend in his nose, slightly to the left.
Yeah, don't think we'll miss him.
I do.
Naturally.
Aww.
That is sweet. Okay. Anything else that you could provide that would aid us on this journey?
Well, unfortunately, I don't have much in the way of money, and I feel that the only pull that I have in town is useless to you to score you some rooms at the inn. But perhaps, and he gets up and he walks towards one of his back rooms, and he brings out a nice painting of a very nice wintry or summery landscape, possibly a mountain range that is not, set in the winter. He says, "I'm an artist by trade, and you could try your hand at trying to sell this, and finding maybe a little compensation from it."
Above table, how good is the painting?
It's very nice.
I'm gonna turn to the party and just say, I'd kind of rather keep that than sell it.
Of course.
Maybe we could talk you into commissioning a painting of this group of misfits as we are.
You wouldn't be my first band of adventurers that I've had to paint.
I'm certain.
Who else have you painted?
By description, I painted to the best of my ability this group called the Order of the North.
I believe we've seen that painting.
It hangs in Bryn Shander.
It certainly does.
Yes, it does.
Next to a singing knuckle trout.
Yep.
That stupid trout. I fucking hate that trout. It totally
That sounded
clashes
like
with
you
my
would
artwork. It clashes with my artwork. I'd pay you double if you rip
I
it
don't
down
think
and
so.
destroy it.
What if we rip it down and keep it?
No. I don't know why I said that. I have no idea what came over me when I said that, but I just know that bad things will happen if that trout is stolen and kept. Horrible, horrible things. Ah, the trauma.
Well, you hold on to that painting for now, and we'll think about it along the way. In the meantime, if you're heading to Bryn Shander, you might find our friend Leoponte at that very same inn, and if you do, would you mind to have him stick around there? In fact, have him meet us there, if he could, at 6 o'clock every night on the hour until we get there. That way we don't miss him.
I will do my best. And that, I think, is a good place to end for the night, as we've gone over a little bit. Not very bad. But in any case, good session, guys.
Yeah!
Cute.
Lots of fun.
Man, that
Lots
was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, tonight was good. I
Been a
liked this
few
one.
weeks for you guys. But anyway. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope all the viewers at home or at work or wherever you happen to be watching this or on YouTube, and if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. Enjoyed the episode, and we will be back next Wednesday, 7 p.m. Central Time, with another episode, episode 12 of Rime of the Frost Maiden. Thank you guys very much. Have a good rest of your night.
Have a good night. See you next year.
Yes, Happy New Year to all.
Good night.
Bye.